I travel because I enjoy meeting people, especially if their way of life is different from my own. Some people might consider some of the places I visit to be too dangerous. I was walking into an Afghan village guarded by a few men carrying submachine guns. I was carrying a large video camera that some might mistake for a lethal weapon. How are they going to respond to a foreigner taking photographs? It wouldn't take long to find out. In the morning when I awoke, the first sign of life I noticed was the movement of animals. Nomadic households generally raise sheep and goats. The family used to own camels, but over half of them died in the last drought, and the remainder had to be sold to pay off debts. Although the region was designated off limits for security reasons, I was looking forward to getting to know this nomadic family. After reading his book, Song from the Forest, I traveled to the Central African Republic to interview author Louis Cerneau and hopefully photograph the lifestyle of the Bayaka Forest people. With travel advisories warning about unstable security conditions and violent crime, I wondered about my chances of success. As I photographed a Himba woman tending to the grooming needs of another, I was well aware that the Himba were known for their red matted braids. As water was scarce, they used a mixture of pastes on both their hair and bodies. I was curious about learning more about their beauty secrets. Inside their home, I received the family's permission to take candid photos. The father was sitting on the floor making bamboo flutes. The mother continued with her sewing, and her daughter began cutting her younger brother's hair. I thanked them for their hospitality and quietly left the house. When I read that a veterinarian was headed to northern Mongolia to treat the reindeer herds of the Duka people, I was eager to document her work and the lifestyle of the reindeer herders before their unique way of life vanished forever. Perhaps I was wrong in deciding to go to Yemen in the late 90s. Now that we were here, I could only hope for the best. In the future, I needed to find more reliable sources for information on the situation on the ground to better determine the level of risk. The priestess sang a call and response song to summon the Aiwa. When in a trance, the dancers gave their bodies over to the Aiwa spirit. The priestess traced out a sacred symbol on the floor in flour, which was pounded into the earth by the dancers' feet. Whatever happened next depended on the Aiwa or spirit which had been summoned. One story regarding the origin of the puppet revolved around a widow, lonely after the death of her husband. She made a wooden image of him, and whenever she felt lonely, hired a puppeteer storyteller to make the puppet dance and communicate with the soul of her husband. In this village, everything floats on water. The cafes, shops, chicken coops, fish ponds are kept from sinking by boat hulls, barrels, or bunches of bamboo. I found a homestay with a very friendly family who allowed me to photograph their home life. I was told that many of the ethnic Vietnamese that live here are considered illegal immigrants. They have no choice but to live on the water. Their long neck tradition gave the Padang an unfair advantage over other tribal people. Many women could weave, but the Padang women got the jobs because of their neck rings. This was in a reenactment of their first coming to Belize in 1802. The crowd marched their way to the Sacred Heart Church, where a traditional mass was held. I watched the congregation sing, sway, and pray. Spurred on by the rhythm of the drums, the dancer became more and more ecstatic.
When his robes flew high, onlookers could see the flesh and blood man hidden beneath the mask. African children are well known for making their own toys. Because they rarely feature sophisticated electronics, African toys provide excellent opportunities for open-ended play.
Critics of Chinese approach to ethnic tourism claim that minorities have traditionally lacked the power and control to determine exhibition content. Could China do a better job of educating the public on the lifestyles of their indigenous peoples? Of course. Do Western countries do any better? I think not. When I heard that there were cowboys in Lesotho, I just had to go to check out the validity of that claim. I arrived at the family crypt as part of the reburial process. Corpses were being brought out of the tombs one by one. The host family was rewrapping the bodies in new shrouds and placing cigarettes, alcohol, or perfume in the new sheet. What happened next was anyone's guess, but it will likely compel me to re-examine my own beliefs about life and death. The dancer wore a mask that was decorated with hair and was completely covered with large pieces of cloth wrapped around his legs, arms, and body, so that nothing can be seen other than the fingers and the toes. Many Bedouins have been forced to relocate and move into permanent settlements. With high unemployment, many Bedouins are turning towards tourism for an income, and I joined this family with this in mind. I was somewhat concerned how people would react to my camera, so I decided to shoot everything from a distance using the telephoto lens. Whenever I got a negative reaction, I immediately apologized and moved on. I found out later that some of the women were concerned that family members back home might see them on YouTube and their secret would be revealed. I braced myself for any confrontation. Thimphu is apparently the world's only capital without traffic lights. A set was installed a few years back, but residents complained that it was too impersonal, which is why white-gloved police officers continue to direct the traffic as if they were ballet dancers.
To the throbbing beat of drums, men and women swirled and twirled, shaking their heads, pounding their feet. It was their way of reaching a higher state of consciousness, using dance to commune with Allah. Funeral songs play a special role in the one-day event I attended. The beauty of these songs is that they're sung spontaneously, expressing the inner experienced feelings which provide a therapeutic function to the deceased family. Funeral songs among the Tonga are an expression of the social fabric of the culture and act as a path to understanding the Tonga people.
Thanks for watching, and thank you for your consideration.